Hello my students, I'm your biology teacher, Cikgu Govind. So our topic today is chapter 7, Adaptations of Plants in Different Habitats, and our subtopic is 7.1, Adaptations of Plants. Here are the learning standards. Learning standard number 1 is classify plants based on habitats. Number 2, describe the adaptive feature of mesophytes, heterophytes, helophytes, and xerophytes in terms of uptake of water and mineral salts, gaseous exchange, support, and photosynthesis. Classifications of plants based on habitat. Adaptation is the adjustments of an organism to the environments. All organisms adapt. Animals and plants have unique structure and shape to adapt to the environments to ensure the survival of the species. For plants, these adaptations can be observed in the shape of its leaf, roots, and stems to adjust itself to live in its habitat. Here are some examples of plants adapting to different habitats. Plants in different habitats have different adaptations. Therefore, plants can be classified into mesophytes, hydrophytes, helophytes, and xerophytes. So we look at number 1 first, mesophytes. Mesophyte is plants that live in a habitat that is not too dry nor too wet with an adequate supply of water. Most plants are mesophytes. Examples of mesophyte plants are mango tree, hibiscus plants, and rubber tree. Here are mango tree and hibiscus, example of mesophytes. Classifications of plants based on habitat. Number 2, hydrophytes. Hydrophyte is plants that live in aquatic habitat, either on the water surface or submerged in the water. Example, lotus and eulodia. This is lotus, live on the water surface, and this is eulodia, submerged in the water. Classifications of plants based on habitat. Number 3, helophytes. Helophyte is plants that live in swampy habitat at the river mouth, the meeting point of fresh water and seawater. This swampy area is rich in salt content. Example, mangrove tree. This is example of mangrove tree. Classifications of plants based on habitats. Number 4, xerophytes. Xerophyte is plants that live in a habitat that is hot and dry with a minimum presence of water. There is a place with a very high temperature, such as the deserts. Example, cactus and dead palms. Okay, this is cactus and this is dead palms. This is example of plants in xerophytes. Adaptive feature of helophytes, hydrophytes, and xerophytes. Okay, we look at the first one, helophytes. Helophytes are plants that can live in a habitat with high concentration of salt and low oxygen content. Mangrove trees are example of helophytes. Mangrove trees that live here have specific adaptive feature to adapt to the environmental conditions. This area is also exposed to high intensity of lights. Okay, we look at the first one, feature, leaf. Leaf with thick cuticle and sunken stomata can reduce the rate of transpiration. Okay, sunken stomata means the stomata is not directly exposed to the surface of the leaf, so it can reduce the rate of transpiration. Succulent leaf can store water, so the leaf are thickened and fleshy, so that can store more water. Leaf with a special structure known as heterophytes eliminates excess water. Okay, from the diagram you can see salt crystal on the leaf structure. Okay, waxy cuticle, succulent leaf. Okay, this diagram, the first one, and then all leaf can store salt and fall off when the concentration of salt store is too high. Okay, you can see this is the all leaf with the excess salt here. Okay, still in helophytes, we look at the root systems. The root system that branch widely and exist in various shape and size. is to provide support for the plants to continue living in the soft and muddy soils, and then also to prevent plants from being uprooted due to strong wind. Okay, this diagram you can see how the root system branch out widely so that it can hold the plants. The root system of mangrove tree also produce hundreds of breeding roots that grow vertically upwards above the surface of the soil, called pneumatophore. Okay, this is the pneumatophore, the roots that grow vertically upwards. There are many pores on these roots, which are called lenticels, to enable the exchange of gases with the atmosphere. And then beside that, the cell shape of mangrove roots has a higher salt contents than the seawater. Hence, the cell of the roots does not lose water by osmosis. Instead, the mangrove tree receive water and mineral salt from the seawater entering their roots. Okay, we look at the second ones, hydrophytes. Heterophytes refer to plants that can adapt to their wet habitats, whether by floating on the water surface or sinking in the water. Okay, in this diagram, Iconia is floating on the water surface, whereas Hydrilla and Elodia is submerged in the water or sinking in the water. Okay, therefore most hydrophytes have fibrous roots that provide a large surface area and trap a bubble to enable the hydrophytes to be more stable and lighter. So example here is the Iconia have fibrous roots so that it can trap more air bubble, so the Iconia can floating on the water. The adaptations of the roots enable them to float or stay upright in the water, as well as the buoyant force exerted by the surrounding water. So Hydrilla can stay upright, same as Eulodia, because of the buoyant force exerted by the surrounding water. Okay, still with hydrophytes. Floating plants such as the lotus are plants that grow by floating on the water surface with the roots not anchored to the bottom of the legs. Okay, this is the root of the lotus plants, not anchored to the bottom of the legs. The leaves, which are broad, thin, and flat, help these plants absorb maximum sunlight for photosynthesis. Most of the stomata are distributed on the upper epidermis of the leaf. The upper epidermis of the leaf is also covered by waxy, waterproof cuticle to ensure the stomata are always open. The stems of these plants consist of light tissue with plenty of spaces between the cells. These tissue are known as parenchyma tissue. Okay, parenchyma tissue is the tissue with spaces so that the plants can floating on the surface of water. Okay, still with hydrophytes, now we will look at another example of plants. Submerged plants such as Eulodia are plants that grow completely inside the water. These plants have leaves that are thin and small to increase the total surface area per volumes and to increase the diffusion rate of water, mineral salt, and dissolved gases directly into the plants through the epidermis. The submerged plants do not have stomata and waxy cuticles on the leaf. Their stems, which are small and hollow, help this plant float upright in the water and help to reduce water flow resistance. Okay, this is Eulodia. Okay, we look at the xerophytes. In contrast to hydrophytes, the xerophytes live in the deserts, an area that receives a very little rainfall. However, xerophytes can overcome this problem of extreme dryness. This adaptive ability is what will determine the survival of xerophytes. The roots of xerophytes grow widely and can penetrate deep into the soil to absorb water and mineral salt. The absorbed water is stored in the roots, stem, and leaf. Beside the stem of the cactus carry out photosynthesis, because the leaf of the cactus is modified into the stems. Okay, so the stem can carry out the process of photosynthesis. Okay, this is the root of the cactus. Okay, still in xerophytes. The cactus has small leaf and thick waxy cuticle on its stem and leaf. They are also leaf modified into thorns. This feature reduces the total surface area exposed to the sun, thus reducing water loss. The presence of thorns can also help the cactus to get water supply by collecting dew. The dew will drop on the grounds and it absorbs by the roots. Besides, the thorns can also prevent the plant from being eaten by the plants. The stomata in the cactus are embedded to reduce water evaporations from the leaf. And the plants in the Arctic are also classified as xerophytes. This is because the plants in the Arctic cannot absorb water when the ground is frozen. Okay, this is an example of cactus. Formative practice 7.1. Here are the questions. Question number 1. Heterophytes are plants that live in swamps. Explains the adaptive feature of these plants to increase the rate of photosynthesis. The answer is Heterophytes have leaf with thick cuticles to ensure sufficient water contents, and the root system that branch widely ensure that Heterophytes remains upright in the muddy soils, ensure the plants get maximum light intensity. Question number 2. A group of students studied a tree. Based on their observations for several weeks, the leaves were found to be growing fast on the tree and provide shade to its stems. Additionally, there are thorns on the leaf and stem of the tree. Its roots grow close to the surface of the ground, and some of them grow deep into the soil. In your opinions, what type of plant is this? Support your answer with biological facts. Okay, so the answer is xerophytes. The leaf grow on top of the tree to provide shade to the stem so that there is lesser water loss through evaporations. Thorn on stems and leaf are as protection so that no animals makes the plants as their foods, and then the root grow deep into the soil to obtain water supply for their life. Okay, that's all for today. See you in next lessons. Thank you and bye-bye.